Super Mario 64 is a video game that needs no introduction. If you have not played Super Mario 64, least of all heard about this game, you are way too young to be watching this video, or you just live under a rock. Its 3D graphics and replayability set the standard for 3D games we know today. Yes, it wasn't a perfect game, and while the graphics haven't aged too well by modern standards, it was definitely on the right track compared to other 3D games that came out around the same time. Super Mario 64 is still very enjoyable to come back to and is an all-time classic for video game lovers everywhere. Whenever I talk to people about Super Mario 64, very rarely do I ever hear anything bad about the game, except the camera. The camera definitely could have been better, but when I talk about the remake of this game, Super Mario 64 DS, I get a completely different response from people. When I talk about the DS remake, most people haven't paid too much mind to it, least of all even played the game, and I think that's a shame, because going back and playing this game all over again, I realized that this remake is a lot better than people think it is. And that's often a situation I find myself in a lot, enjoying something wonderful that most people don't really care for. Super Mario Sunshine, Undertale, the Star Wars prequels.
My Life as a Teenage Robot?
Yeah, and My Life as a Teenage Robot. But this video is not about that show. You all know one day I'll make a video on My Life as a Teenage Robot, but for now, back to Super Mario 64 DS. I feel Super Mario 64 DS deserves to be recognized more than it is, and to help me show that this game is a wonderful homage to the original and more some, I've brought along a good friend of mine that you've probably seen on the channel. Orber?
Yeah.
Care to say hi?
Hello, Bronze, and everyone watching.
Orber's played his fair share of Super Mario 64, and when I asked him to be involved in this video, he played the remake to get a better understanding of it. So, Orber, whenever you feel like you want to add on to something I've said, feel free to.
Sure will do. This was my first time playing this remake, and there is one specific part that I would like to talk more about, so I'll remind you when we get to it.
Well, with introductions out of the way, it's time to tell all of you why Super Mario 64 DS is an underappreciated remake. Most of you already know the story of Super Mario 64, and this remake has the same story, but for the very few of you that don't know, let me explain. Peach invites Mario to the castle, saying she's baked a cake for you, so Mario, Luigi, and Wario too? Mario, you do know it's rude to bring your friends along on a date, right? Oh well. So Mario, Luigi, and Wario go into the castle with Yoshi sleeping on top of it, and after a period of time, Lakitu wakes Yoshi up and tells him that Mario hasn't returned yet. So you control Yoshi to go and see what happened to everybody. After exploring some of the castle, you find out that Bowser is behind all of it and has trapped Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Peach in the castle, and hiding the Power Stars in the paintings all the same. Eventually, you collect 80 Power Stars throughout the castle, 10 more than the original I might add, defeat Bowser, and that's it. That's basically the whole story. Short, sweet, and to the point. A wonderful game doesn't need a complicated story. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Now, of course, I'm not going to make one section of the video a minute long, not yet anyway, so I'll talk about some of the changes in this remake compared to the original because it kind of fits with the story aspect. Compared to the original game, 64 DS has a lot of changes to it. More characters, more power-ups, more stars, more levels, more playability, more MIPS, more compression, more pixelation. Oh boy. Being on the DS, this game definitely doesn't look good by modern standards, you can all see it, but as Nintendo has proved time and time again, you don't need good graphics to make a good game, and even if it's more pixelated and compressed than its original counterpart, you can easily excuse the technical limitations of the time because of the sheer amount of content this game has. Also, side note, speaking about the pixelation, how the game looks, I'll be using the screen smoothing option on my Wii U because paired with my M Classic, it looks much better than the original resolution of the game. You can all see the comparison right here. So in case you were wondering, the original game doesn't look like this, I'm just smoothing it out to look better on the eyes. When I downloaded this game on my Wii U, do you know how big this game was? 45 megabytes. 45 megabytes! Super Mario 64 is over twice that size on my Wii U. I have photos on my computer that are a lot bigger than this game, and you get all this in 2004? Now, fans of this game may have noticed that I missed something when talking about changes to this game compared to the original, and don't worry, I'll get to that later. Instead of having 120 stars like 64 did, DS has 150, spreading 30 more stars throughout the game, which I will never complain about in a Mario game. Okay, something I rarely complain about in a Mario game, and there's even more than a handful of new stages to the game too. These stages feel like they would be in the original game, and it fits the aspect wonderfully. The secret slide room has been changed to a character swap room, a mini-game room with a new stage in it, as well as the level where you unlock Mario too. The mirror room upstairs has Wario's stage, Boo's Courtyard has a secret stage as well, Big Boo's Haunt has the stage to unlock Luigi, naturally it had to be in Big Boo's Haunt, you couldn't put it anywhere else, and these levels are wonderful. Each stage also has new stars and features added to it as well, like King Bob-Omb's Revenge and Bob-Omb Battlefield, or there being a backside to Thwomp's Fortress. I could go on about the new features on and on all day long, but if I did, this video would be a lot longer than it already is, so I'll just say that there's a lot of new features that give Super Mario 64 fans a damn good reason to play this game. And you know what? This was a launch title for the DS. You didn't have to wait for this game to be released a few years into the system's lifetime like most games were. It was right there from the get-go, and this was no throwaway launch game either. Super Mario 64 DS is still the 10th most sold game on the DS. And there were 2015 games made for that system. I'd say that's pretty damn impressive for a remake. Damn, 2015 games. That's a lot of shovelware. So, the story is similar to its original counterpart. It was available from day one and is also the 10th most sold game on its system. So far, this is looking pretty good for a remake. So why is it a lot of people don't really enjoy playing this game? Oh shit. Alright, I'll admit it. The D-pad sucks for this game. Like, a lot. It sucks more than the Smash 4 main menu, and that's saying something. One of the biggest complaints for this game is the fact that you have to use a D-pad for a 3D game. Yes, you can use the touchscreen, and while it isn't the worst thing to use, the D-pad definitely isn't the best thing. Especially when you're in the air trying to move in one specific direction. The biggest problem for me with the D-pad was Bowser in the Fire Sea, specifically this part. Once the camera shifts to the wall, you are fucked. You're going to have to take a leap of faith, and trust me, it gets very frustrating when it happens almost every time you visit this stage. I lost the most lives in this game to this stage, mostly because of this wall. Sometimes I had to take a break from this game because of the Fire Sea stage, and I mean that. So, needless to say, if you're going to play this game, know that the D-pad is going to screw you over a few times. Yes, it is unfair, but that's just how the game was made. Another thing I'd say that's bad about this remake is the quality of the game, but that can't really be complained about because, like I mentioned earlier, when you play older games, you have to excuse the technical limitations of the time, and the DS, while it was pretty good for the time, has a resolution of 256 by 192 on each screen. That's 49,152 pixels for each screen. That sounds like a lot, but considering the GameCube, Nintendo's main console at the time, had over 6 times the resolution of the DS, and it can do just 480p, Super Mario 64 DS has some pixelation to it, not to mention the compression as well. I mean, listen to this.
Here we go! Yeah! Hey!
As a huge technical person, it hurts a little bit inside to revisit this game and hear all the compression in it. Some lines don't even finish, too. So if you're gonna play this game, you're gonna have to accept the pixelation and compression, but if I've learned anything from retro-looking games like Undertale, it's that you don't need good graphics to make a good game, and God is Undertale such a good game. It is my favorite game to this day. Yes, I'm going against what I said in my 4,000 sub special, mostly because I played Undertale between these two videos, and damn, I wish I had played it sooner. One day, I'll make a video on it, similar to my life as a teenage robot. Hell, I'll probably make multiple videos on Undertale with different topics about the game, but enough Undertale, back to the topic at hand. So, aside from the pixelation and compression, this game is not bad because of its limitations. It's far from it, actually. With the limitations of the time, you get so much from it. Yoshi, Luigi, and Wario are unlockable characters in the game with specific abilities, too. It's a shame Waluigi wasn't in this game, but this was 2004, before Waluigi became the beautiful man we all know and love today, so I'll give it a pass. But it really feels odd that there's just a door right there with no hints in the game as to what it is, and when you finally unlock it, it's just another star. I wish they'd put Waluigi in the game, but what are you gonna do? Actually, when I was younger, I was really into Waluigi and Super Mario 64 DS videos on YouTube back in the day, and I was sad when I fully realized that he wasn't in the game, but at least he's treated better now, right? Right? All 4 characters have unique traits and downsides, with some stars specifically redesigned just for those traits. Yoshi can use Ex's projectiles, he gets fire breath from the flower box, but he has 0 power. He can't defeat the boos in the courtyard, and he can't even destroy regular blocks, but you can use all 3 caps from the other characters in the levels when you play as Yoshi, so he's not too bad to use. Our main man Mario is your all-around character for this game. His wall jumps are much easier to perform compared to the original. He can use the flower box to turn into Balloon Mario, and there's even some wing cap boxes for him too, so you can soar around the level as you please. There aren't really any downsides to him, but there's nothing too special about him. He's, like I said, an all-around character. Nothing else. Luigi is easily the most broken character in the game, and for damn good reasons too. His speed is unmatched, his backflip is broken as hell, he can run on water for a few moments, and he also has that ooh when you press and hold the jump button. I'm never saying that out loud again. With all of these traits, Luigi is easily the go-to character for beating this game as quickly as you can and getting stars that are difficult to get otherwise. Wario is all about power and that good-ass shuffle of his when he runs. He looks like he's on his way to get some mad puss. He can destroy black bricks along with most obstacles, knock opponents away like they're nothing, and even turn metal with the flower box, but that power comes at a cost. He's the slowest, least agile character in the game, and you can really feel it when you play as him. Because of these downsides, more times than not, I only played as him when I needed him for stars and such, but still, Wario's not the worst thing in the world. With these new characters also comes new features to the game as well. With this remake, you have more levels, more stars, some of those stars have even been changed to match specific characters and traits for some, and some were removed entirely too, with all 15 main stages now having 8 stars apiece. Most side levels also have a star or 2 added for more playability, and if you're stuck in a certain part of the stage, you can always use the caps from the other characters that have been put somewhere in the stage. This addition to the game made this one of the main reasons why people enjoy it. You don't have to reset a level if you have the wrong character, just find their cap, put it on, and voila, you're now that character. I also like how even though you're a different character, you still make noises from the original character you picked in the beginning of the level. That was a very nice touch. There are so many things added to this game to make it better, but I'm basically repeating myself from the last section of this video, so I'll just say that with these new features, while too many to talk about in one sitting, are still more than welcome to this game and make it that much better. And speaking of better, let's talk about some of the extra songs this game adds onto from the original. This part is going to be a lot shorter than the other parts, but I still feel like it should be said nonetheless. The soundtrack still kicks ass. Not only do you have all of the original songs from 64, you get a good amount of new ones too. Balloon Mario, the Minigames select screen, Bob-Omb Squad, the Owl, Wanted, Bingo Ball, Isle Delfino, and the casino theme from Sunshine get reused in this game. Even though this remake reuses all the songs we know and love from Super Mario 64, it still has some memorable songs in its own right and even remakes some of the original songs for the better too. Most of these remakes are made for the minigame section of this game, and yes, the minigames is the part I have been saving for the end because it is one of the main reasons why people say it's better than its original counterpart, and I, for one, agree with this entirely.
I have a few things to say about those.
Oh shit! Orber, I completely forgot you were even in this video. Where were you this whole time?
I figured you had all of it taken care of, but I do want to talk about this part of the game with you.
Well, better late than never, I guess. Let's talk about these minigames. Most Mario games have some sort of side collectible. Super Mario Sunshine had those tedious to find blue coins, Super Mario Odyssey has purple coins, and Super Mario 64 DS is no different. But this side collectible is different. Instead of collecting a side item to unlock more in-game items, be it a different costume, stars, shine sprites, moons, you get the picture. You get minigames in this remake, and oh my god, are these minigames great. To unlock these minigames, you have to catch individual Mipses, rabbits that roam different parts of the castle depending on which character you're using, and with 28 minigames in total, you get more playability to the game by having to catch all of these Mipses, and you get some really good minigames to help pass the time and add on to this game. I played these minigames all the time as a kid, and while all are good in their own right, if I talked about each and every one of them individually, this video would probably be twice, maybe thrice as long. Yes, thrice is a word, look it up. So I'm just going to talk about my personal favorites that, similar to Orber, I'd like to point out. My favorite minigame for Yoshi has to be Wanted, where you search for a specific character within a time limit that gets increasingly difficult each level, giving you a little bit of extra time for finding each character.
I guess it's true what they say. Great minds think alike. Wanted was my favorite of the Yoshi games as well.
I got to 300, and by that point I was so good at this minigame that I didn't want to play it anymore because it got boring.
Ooh, nice.
I could have gone to 1,000 if I wanted to, so while it was fun, it only gets so hard. Still though, it's my personal favorite for Yoshi.
Very impressive, man. The hardest to catch for me was always Luigi.
Oh, I can certainly back that up, Orber. Even playing it today, I always had trouble with Luigi in this minigame. My favorite minigame for Mario is Shell Smash.
Ah, same here.
While Sword Explode is a very, and I mean very, close second, and it's honestly the better minigame entirely, it plays too much into my anxiety, so I have to give my personal favorite to Shell Smash.
Yeah, that anxiety is too much. It is fun, but you do get overwhelmed after a while.
This minigame lets you smash Koopa shells together to score points, and gives you extra if 2 green shells collide. Seeing 11 Koopa shells go nuts on 2 screens is somewhat satisfying to me, and I really enjoy seeing it every time I play this minigame.
Sometimes it is the small things that can be the most satisfying.
Luigi's minigames are the reason why I unlocked all of these minigames in the first place when I was younger, and he's easily my favorite category. For some reason, Luigi in a casino oddly suits him, but it's weird that all of these minigames are based on one thing while his counterparts seem to have minigames spread all over the place. Also, the Toad carrying drinks in the background is absolutely beautiful in its own right. I could probably make a decently long video on Luigi's minigames alone, but I digress. My favorite minigame for Luigi is easily Picture Poker, and it's even my favorite minigame entirely as well. I can't tell you how many hours I spent playing this one minigame, along with many other people that enjoyed watching me play it.
That is interesting. I also liked a few of Luigi's minigames. My favorite is Pair, A Gone and On though, where you match same cards with proximity of each other. But I also found Picture Poker fun, as I enjoy regular poker.
My coin counter was well over 5,000 from what I remember. Getting a 5 of a kind makes my day every single time I get it, and I'm pretty sure Luigi's minigames is what got me into gambling with cards in the first place. And lo and behold, here I am gambling with Pokemon cards, trying to get a big card out of packs to this day. If you consider Pokemon cards gambling, which I do to an extent. But regardless, I love all of Luigi's minigames and hold them near and dear to my love for this game as well. My favorite minigame from Wario is Psych Out. While I do love Slot Shot and Bingo Ball, Psych Out takes it for me because of this beautifully slowed down version of Dire Dire Docks you get to listen to while playing it. The minigame is fun too, but this is my favorite Wario minigame mostly because of the song. But you can't blame me, who doesn't love Dire Dire Docks?
Oh, I see. This is where we have different tastes in minigames. I was not a big fan of Bingo Ball or Slots Shot at all, but I did find Psych Out to be my favorite among the Wario minigames, with the relaxing music and the fun gameplay. I also very much enjoyed Bob-Omb Squad, where you slingshot the Bob-Ombs out of the sky before they hit the toads.
While those are my personal favorite minigames per character, and while Orber has said his personal favorites as well, I'm not trying to devalue the others. They're all good in their own right by all means, and they're definitely all worth playing for a while. In fact, some of these minigames are so good it gives you a reason to find all of the Mipses and unlock them all to see which ones are just amazing in their own right. Anything else you want to add, Orber?
If I had to pick a favorite minigame, I think I'm gonna go with Pair, A Gone and On. It's hard to choose just one. Overall, these minigames adds a nice time sinker, and you can spend several hours on them outside of the main game.
Alright then. Now, with all of these sections out of the way, I think it's about time we get to the overall conclusion of this game. After going back to Super Mario 64 DS and 100%ing it, would I recommend this game to anyone? You're goddamn right I would! Technical limitations aside, this is by far one of the best remakes I've ever played and is, in my opinion, one of the best remakes ever made. A lot of people get very weary about playing this game because of how good Super Mario 64 was and how limited the DS is, and this game blew many people's expectations out the window with what you get. This next part is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but I believe that this remake is better than Super Mario 64, albeit not by much. It just narrowly beats it, but I still believe this is the better game.
I see where you're coming from, and I agree that this game has a lot of things that the original is missing, you know? You can play as several characters, there is more content, there's the minigames and so on. But as far as the controls goes, I do prefer the original, but that's kind of about it. So yeah, this one is better overall.
Sure, Super Mario 64 is the more iconic and revolutionary game, justifiably so, but I think Super Mario 64 DS is better in its own right with all that you get in this game, and that, along with many other reasons, is why I believe Super Mario 64 DS is an underappreciated remake. I want to thank Orber for being in this video with me.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for bringing me along.
And of course, I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching. Take care, and have a good one.